Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Walking with J.Beau. MAHA walking. Make America healthy again. Well, today it's 35 degrees. It doesn't feel very springy at all. In fact, this is what we had in the winter. It's also windy today, but not as bad as yesterday. That's why I did not walk yesterday. I do not like walking in cold wind. So, my friends, we're going to do a basic 5 miles today, because I don't like to have 2 days off in a row. We are going to have slightly warmer temperatures coming. Much of the country is cold right now because of that cold front that Canada was kind enough to give us, along with wind, which causes things like branches to break off dead trees. Looks like a branch broke off that one. Didn't hit the house, thankfully. So, that's always good. Now, today is another Friday during Lent. So, no meat for me today. But I can have eggs, fish, fish is allowed, so are eggs. Now, in medieval times, with the medieval church, they were very strict. No dairy products, nothing except nuts, things like that. The season of Lent represents 40 days Jesus out in the desert, confronting Satan. It was a test. She passed, but he didn't eat for 40 days. And so this has to do with that. Well, now we're going to have all the cars in the world go by when I want to cross. So we'll just walk down this way. So Good Friday is towards the end of this month. 2 more Fridays after today. Then there'll be Easter Sunday. We're going to have Palm Sunday before that. So, and that's for Catholics. I don't know what other denominations do or how strict they are. A lot of people think that you just fast on Good Friday and that's it, but it's every Friday during Lent for Catholics. So you're allowed 1 big meal, as long as it doesn't have meat, and 2 smaller portioned during the day. So I have things like I got strawberries, I got trail mix, and things like that. So I'll make it, I won't starve to death. But anyways, I'm going to do the 5 miles today. It's getting daylight longer and longer. Last light is after 7 o'clock. Close to it. And it is cold today. My face is cold. This is like complete BS, man. We had 72 degrees. We had 70 degrees, 69 before that. We had 60 the day before that. And what the hell happened? So anyways, my friends, the war with Iran is going awesomely. And the amount of liberals rooting for Trump to lose, and that's what this is about. This is about Trump. The amount of rooting for Trump to lose with ridiculous propaganda is off the charts. Off the charts. Oh, the Strait of Hormuz is being shot at. The Strait of Hormuz has mines being laid. There's absolutely no evidence of a single mine being laid. It's all just leaked propaganda, anonymous sources, and it's wrong. An anonymous source leaked to CNN that the Trump administration did not plan on Iran shutting down the Strait of Hormuz. Any damn idiot sitting in their kitchen with a laptop knows that Iran has been using the Strait of Hormuz as a weapon against the West for 50 years. So this is incredibly ridiculous to assume that nobody thought of it. So sometimes a little common sense goes a long way, guys. That's all I'm saying. I told you they were going to do this. Trump just needs to stick to it and have them eat crow. Remember how hyperbolic they went over Trump bombing Iran's nuclear program. It has not been obliterated. He's lying. They went nuts over the fact that Trump said it was obliterated. So they ran massive propaganda. Politicians were all saying in unison, they all used the same terminology in every interview they did. It has not been obliterated. And it was. So also, since our last walk, we had 2 terrorist attacks. What's this person doing? Texting, probably. So we had 2 terrorist attacks. All right. Both related to Israel and Muslim. And I think both their names were Muhammad, by the way. Which is not unusual, because Muhammad is the most common Muslim name, as the name John is for Christians. So that's also why you have a lot of people named Jesus in Espanol. So anyways, guys, they're running propaganda, anonymous leaks, and DHS is shut down because of politics. Democrats are playing politics with people's lives. We had 2 terrorist attacks, which is the Department of Homeland Security's job. Today at airports for the weekend, there was massive lines because of TSA agents not being paid, and they're collecting unemployment. They're not even at work. So they're not being paid, and some of these people are quitting because this is the second shutdown within 6 months. I gotta adjust my belt. I'll be right back. How happy would you be, job security wise, if you're trying to make car payments and mortgage payments with a job that typically never gets shut down? And they're shut down. And these poor people at the airports having to wait in line are probably blaming Donald Trump for it, because that's the propaganda. Democrats' whole purpose for shutting the government down with a partial shutdown was over ICE, okay? And the way DHS is conducting business. Well, Kristi Noem has been relieved. Mr. Mullen has to be confirmed. Hasn't been confirmed yet. So that's just one of these things. Democrats are playing politics. Now, Democrats probably didn't count on 2 terrorist acts, but the simple fact is, it's a very dangerous time right now, and we cannot have DHS closed. It has to be funded. That also includes Secret Service, TSA, and things like that. So I'm going to turn the camera around. So guys, we're back to having Democrats playing politics. Hi, by the way. And I said after the last shutdown, there would be another shutdown. Didn't I say that at the beginning of the year? This isn't the last one we're going to have. It's a new weapon for the Democrats, and they're wielding it. They feel like they had the upper hand in the last shutdown. And to be honest with you, I don't know where the dust lies on that one. I would find that hard to believe. Can't trust a lot of the polling you see. And right now, politically, it's so volatile, it's difficult to predict what's going to happen. Perfect example, a state representative seat in New Hampshire was just won by a Democrat in a heavily Republican district. So that's not a good sign. Conversely, in Virginia, where they just elected this lunatic governor, leftist, who lied to them, said she was going to be a moderate, and she ended up signing and asking for climate change carbon tax, which has tripled many light bills in Virginia, so they can subsidize climate change stuff, windmills, solar panels. The money doesn't come out of thin air. Taxpayers subsidize that. You pay for it. President Trump has defunded it. He's halted the permitting of it. So this is the Democrats finding another way to get the money they need. Which, I hate to say it, for Virginians is actually good, because now they're showing you who they really are. They lied to you, and now they're taking your money. So, with that, we have an election in Virginia in a heavy Democrat district, and a Republican just stole a seat. Because the Virginia Democrats went crazy, because they can, and they did, and voters obviously are not happy about it. So we're in a lot of political turmoil right now. We're going to have to wait and see how the dust settles. All we can do is just stick to what's right, do what's right, and let the chips fall where they may. The other thing Democrats have been doing is refusing to go along with the one big beautiful bill with regard to no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security. I'll turn the camera around. So, a lot of these voters that voted for Democrats are going to be wondering where their tax cuts are. We can't blame Trump for them, because Trump said they're getting them. So there is going to be backlash for that. The Maine governor here thinks that she can give everybody a $300 check, which is also tax money, when people were supposed to get about $1,000 from tax breaks. They think that's going to be okay, and it's not. Susan Collins has been hitting the radio shows, and she's going to start doing TV for her own campaign ad against Janet Mills, who did that. Janet Mills has asked the legislature to deny no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and no tax on overtime for Maine people, because they talk about budget shortfalls it will create, that they created themselves by overtaxing everybody. overspending. Explain that to the 20-year-old woman, single mom, who waitresses, has to pay for childcare, and then at the end of the year has to pay taxes on her tips. She was looking forward to getting that money back so she could put tires on her car, so she could get to work. And she voted for Democrats. How are they going to square that with their voters? Money is money, and people are not too stupid to know that they're not getting the money back they should. So this is going to be a problem for Democrats. It's going to be a big problem. I will keep you posted on that. The other news I saw today was a couple of migrants that were very angry because a woman's car was getting towed. It's going to cost them $475 to get their car back. And the guy that owns the lot, in the video I saw, was explaining to them, do you see that sign right there? Can you read it? It says people parked here illegally will be towed. Well, he didn't like that. But the police showed up and they towed the vehicle because they were there parked illegally. They were attending a mosque across the street on Bartlett Street. The same mosque where parking lot shootouts made national news during the ICE raids because it's either gangs or something, but you had Muslims shooting at each other and nobody saw anything. There were no witnesses. Even though dozens of people saw it, nobody came forward, either to protect their own or they were afraid to, or both. So that happened across the street, and it had involved people parking at the mosque. So there you have it. In other news, I saw ICE in Vermont issuing an arrest pursuant to a warrant, and people surrounded the house of the person they were going to arrest. They locked their arms together and they were preventing ICE from doing the arrest. They were there ahead of time before ICE showed up. So they had information that tipped them off. Probably signal chat, encrypted chats, and resistance is being organized using encryption technology. And they were there waiting for ICE. So I don't know how that turned out. because I know ICE has a warrant, but the real problem is that the local police have been told not to assist ICE. That's the problem. ICE has a job to do, which theoretically they could arrest all these people if they wanted to, which is what I hope they did. But this is where the problem comes in. This is why this gets dangerous, because this is why they were using Border Patrol, because the police were not assisting. So now Border Patrol is not being used for that, because public perception of that has not been good, according to polling. People want these people picked up and arrested, but they don't want those tactics. So what do you do? What the hell do you do? The alternative is to not follow the law and just leave the illegals alone. That's not going to happen with President Trump, and I'm glad. So I'm going to try to follow up on what happened with that. I'm hoping the people that were doing that, which by the way, were all old white people, old white liberals, because that's all that lives in Vermont. The young people leave because you can't make any money there, and you're overtaxed, cost of living. So President Trump is regrouping on that. Tom Homan is working on that. ICE is still out there arresting people, I guess is my point. Just we're not seeing the same things going on. And perfect example here is ICE was here this week. They've been arresting people. That's not going to change. They raided a business for Somali fraud again this week. And the Democrats here have given up trying to block ICE because they realize they can't. They can't block ICE. Federal law trumps local laws, period. The best they can do is obstruct and resist. And that's unfortunate because it creates situations like we saw in Vermont without any local police assisting. Anything bad could happen out of that. Which, of course, the media will pounce on that immediately, of course, right? Now, there is good news. The good news is, as far as DHS funding, things like that, Republicans are working behind the scenes with Reconciliation Package 2.0. The Reconciliation Package, the first one last year, funded ICE through 2029, Border Patrol through 2029, and that is still there. So what's interesting about that is Reconciliation Package 2.0 is going to have a whole bunch of stuff in it that you can pass with 50 votes. How cool is that? That's what we did with the one big beautiful bill and all that stuff. So this next package won't be as big as the first one, but it's purported to have some very important President Trump agenda items to be codified into law. Which should be an interesting discussion. I already know they wanted to put transgenderism stuff in the first reconciliation package, but the Senate Appropriations Officer, she said, who's been there since Obama, said you can't have that in there. It's not a budgetary thing. So theoretically, they could throw in a budget thing, defunding all of that, which is what they're probably going to do. So we shall watch what Reconciliation Package 2.0 looks like. As soon as I have info, I'll let you know. Right now, everybody's busy with the DHS shutdown, which is another tactic Democrats are using to stall the Senate. Which, by the way, Senator John Thune said yesterday he's going to put the Save America Act on the floor for a vote. Chances of it passing are pretty much nil, okay? It's a futile exercise. I was getting my hopes up a little bit until John Fetterman wasn't going to support it. So right now there's no Democrats. None. Zero. So that's not going to go anywhere. But I think that's why President Trump added the transgender stuff in it, because Democrats are going to be forced to vote against that, and that's one of the reasons why people voted for Trump in 2024. So this is still an albatross around Democrats' necks. It's going to be in all the campaign reels. The Democrats not standing at the State of the Union as well. And the reason why it's going to be effective is because the Democrats were firmly asked if American citizens come before migrants, and they wouldn't stand up. Meaning migrants come before Americans. So this is going to be a political problem for Democrats at midterms. I'm very bullish on midterms. I'm not being the doom and gloom like some people are online, because Democrats always win midterms. Well, the thing with a team that's down 3 games in a championship series, only 1 or 2 teams ever went on to the World Series. Well, the Red Sox were doomed and gloomed. They were going to lose. They went on to win the World Series. And I didn't give up on them. I watched every game. Extra innings, home run, walk-off home runs to win games. This is the greatest playoff series I've ever seen in my lifetime. Ever. Ever. And I watched it. I watched every minute of it. Because I'm not a quitter. Republicans have a good shot this year to win midterms. People are going to realize the successes with Iran, and we'll have Cuba on that, by the way. I'll talk about that shortly. Venezuela, toppling dictators. The economy is going to be picking up pretty hard soon, and gas prices are going to go down even lower than they were before the Iran conflict, and Iran will have quit. You watch. That's what's going to happen, guys. That's all going to happen before midterms. So, we are going to see domestic terrorism, though, pick up. Personally, without evidence, okay, it's just my opinion, I think that's going to be orchestrated by leftists to make it look like Muslim terrorists. These same white people with nothing better to do supporting Palestine over Israel. So you have to remember, you still have a lot of anti-Semitism, which one of the terrorist attacks yesterday involved driving a car through the front doors of a mosque, and the person was killed. Somebody got out and started shooting. Security at the church put him down immediately. They had just trained recently on what to do if they had an attack. and they put that out very quickly. Oh, we got some ducks again. So the ducks are eating something out of that. So anyways, we're going to see some attacks, more of them. And I still think, because we have the Olympics in Los Angeles, that we're going to have riots again. They will find an excuse to facilitate it. So you can count on it, okay? I'm telling you right now, that's what we're going to have. People are going to decide if this is all because of Trump or something else. But with prices down, cost of food down, a lot of people don't understand the reason why the cost of fuel was where it was everything it has to go through to get here. And we trade on the world markets. So while we can produce enough gas and oil for ourselves, it gets traded on the world market. So whatever happens in the Strait of Hormuz affects our prices, even though it's not a supply problem. So with that, prices are going to be even lower, because the cost of insurance going through the Strait of Hormuz is going to be cheaper after this, because Iran's no longer going to be a threat, and neither will the Houthis. President Trump is cleaning house. It's long overdue. This time period of just putting up with it all the time is over. It's over. I trust President Trump that he knows what he's doing. We have a very capable military also. I got full confidence in them, in our technology we use. Perfect example. Now, I don't know if you remember. I hope you do, okay? I really hope you remember this. Because one of those seers I told you about, somebody who gets messages from God and relays them to people, said that a weapon we've never seen before used, the United States was going to use a weapon that has never been used before in combat. Guess what happened this week? A brand new weapon, never used in combat before, was used on Iran. Just like I said it was going to, what, 3 months ago? Hopefully you remember that. I don't remember which walk I said it, but I did. The weapon that was used was from our Space Force. Very sophisticated, high-powered lasers in orbit, tracked, spotted, and targeted several missiles launched by Iran. It's the first time we ever used that. And it had 100% obliteration of all of the missiles that got launched. And I'm sure that got the attention of Chairman Xi, who Trump is going to visit in April, by the way. So that should be interesting. I'd like to be a fly in that room. So the Strait of Hormuz, here's the pluses. China wants that open. So does Russia. Okay, they want those straits open because there are gas lines in Russia right now, in China, and they had gas lines in Russia already. But now China is experiencing gas lines because prices of gas in China have shot up through the roof. And the difference with them is they don't have the supply because they were relying on Iran. So this seriously cripples China. It cripples Russia. It cripples everything that is perpetuating the Ukraine war. It weakens Russia big time, and it weakens China. And you would think a normal media would be promoting that and still bad-mouthing Trump, but promoting what we're doing. Nope. Nope, they're rooting for us to fail. Talk about scumbaggery. So, anyway, these brand new weapons never used before by the Space Force. Just like that guy said. He said that was going to happen. I told you guys that. Isn't that amazing? Not making it up. To refresh your memory, this is the same guy that said Trump was going to survive an assassination attempt at a rally. He said that in March, and it happened in July. He even named which ear was going to get shot and how it was almost going to kill Trump, and he was going to drop on his knees on the stage, and at that moment he was going to find God like he's never had before. Then he said after that happens, Trump is going to win the election. This was in March, okay? March of 2024. And he was right. And the thing is he even named what ear was going to get shot. Said he was going to get shot in the ear. But the way he said it was that the bullet was going to explode his eardrum, which didn't happen. But this guy that has no understanding how ammo works, and he's running on the premise like CNN shows hydrostatic shock, and when they show that exploding up in a gel test, they assume bullets explode because they didn't explain it on that program. A lot of people watched that 60 Minutes episode. That clip went viral, so now people think bullets explode by themselves. Can't make that up, but that's what they think. So this guy doesn't know anything about bullets. Said that it was going to just miss shooting him in the head and hit his ear and rupture his eardrum because the bullet explodes next to his ear. So he's predicted other things. He predicted, remember that day when he had that attack in New Orleans? That pickup truck? Another ISIS attack. He got out and was shooting people, and they put him down pretty quickly. In New Orleans, we all saw that around New Year's. He also predicted there was going to be a terrorist attack in Las Vegas and one in Memphis, all on the same day. Well, the one in Las Vegas happened, but it was the guy that blew himself up in a Tesla, remember? With fireworks. And the one in Memphis never happened. Maybe that's on the docket in the future here. He said they would all be on the same day. He goes, I can't give you details all the time. These are just things God tells me. You know, I don't have all the details. So, but they happened, I guess is my point. I know it sounds incredible. It really does. But simple fact is, facts are facts. He said a weapon that's never been used before was going to be used against Iran or Hamas. He said he wasn't sure, but it would have to do with the conflict with Israel, and that's what we're in. So that was right. He predicted it right. I'll give him credit for that. That's what happened. The weapon never used, brand new weapon, never used in combat before, was used this week. Very successfully. And it pretty much is going to send shockwaves to Russia and China that we have that capability. Because I think Russia was putting a lot of merit into their hypersonic missiles they have. Well, this specifically just reads heat signature. That's all it reads. And it's a certain temperature, a certain type, and it's pinpoint accurate. So now shooting down a hypersonic missile is a whole thing altogether. I don't know what our Space Force capability is of that, but we shot down the Iranian ones, and they have supersonic. So, you know. Anyways, I gotta use the restroom. I will be out. Wish me luck. Oh, guys, that's my opinion on that stuff. Pretty wild when you think about it. Again, I don't just jump on everything people like that say. Just thought it was interesting to share with you. Pretty wild regardless. Even if you were to make one guess and be even half right, but to just be so bold and confident in it and saying this is what's going to happen, Trump's going to get assassination attempt, it's going to hurt his ear, he's going to win the election, he's going to be on the stage where it happened, on his knees, which he was. Now, he didn't mention any of the fight stuff and all that, but it's a pretty good guess if you were going to guess. And every time he predicts something, it's about 3, maybe 4 months out from when it happens. So we used a weapon we've never used before. And he said that would happen. That's pretty wild. He said he didn't know what the weapon was. So, you know, you could say, you could just make that up. I get it. But combined with his other stuff he said, there's a high degree of accuracy. I think we've only had one president in the past that served a term, lost, and then came back and won again, and that was Jackson, Andrew Jackson. Ironically, the outsider they tried to ruin and destroy, just like Trump. So that's pretty wild too, isn't it? The odds of even predicting he was going to win, but I predicted he was going to win that election just because of the such obvious incompetence. I mean, if Biden had been just even 25% better than he was, and Kamala Harris the same, they might have won that election. It's very difficult to come back and win an election. So, but I think the assassination attempt put him over the top for good. I think he won the election on that. That's what this guy said in his prediction. And I believe that. And it happened in Pennsylvania, the swing state that you have to win an election. So, You can say, well, it's just all a coincidence. You're entitled to that. But I don't believe that. I do know we're in for a wild election year. I can guarantee you that. It doesn't take an expert to figure out that there's going to be some stuff going on. I left the wind canceling on here, so it is windy today. So once in a while you're going to hear me muffled. I don't want to hear the complaints. I don't want to hear any complaints about that. Battery left. 2/3. So anyway, reconciliation package 2.0 is going to be coming up in May, I believe. I believe that's the timetable Mike Johnson gave it last year. Told you guys about that already last year, that we would have another one, and to appreciate the first one, because that was like passing 14 bills in one. I think it's literally 14, would have been 14 separate bills. So if you do it through reconciliation, you can't have any new spending. That's the catch. Can't add new spending for something. You have to use existing funds and reorganize it. But you can pass legislation. Why is reconciliation package 2.0 important? Because it will be stuff Trump wants passed, and midterms this year. If we lose midterms, and God forbid we lose the Senate too, we already know Trump's not going to sign anything. So his entire presidency would be over. So this would be the last chance to codify into law a lot of his agenda. So just letting you know what we're going to see. It'll be interesting. Because after midterms, if we lose the House, nothing's going to get passed. And it's just going to be impeachments, investigations. And Republicans need to talk about that when they're campaigning. They have to say, look, this is what we've done for you. This is what the Democrats have done, which is nothing. When they had the House, the Senate, and the White House, this is what they did to you. Inflation, all those problems, economy, affordability. And you need to remind them of what Democrats have been saying and doing while Trump is president. They need to just come right out and lay it on extra thick. I mean, basically tell the voters, choose what you want. Do you want 2 years of investigations and impeachments? Or do you want a good economy? You know? Republicans are going to be putting a bill, a housing act. It's a housing bill to make more affordable housing. And for all you naysayers always complaining about Mike Johnson, he's got a 1 majority lead. 1. And he's getting them cohesive. the largest voting body, 200 plus people to all vote for the same thing and support it. Now granted, you get your people that come out and say, I'm not supporting this unless this changes. Well, they work all that out, they iron it out, and it's getting passed. Problem has been the Senate with Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer is the friggin' devil. He's soulless, godless, he's a heathen, probably a demon. I say that seriously because nothing explains being this against the Trump administration and lusting for power so much that they don't care about their own voters. Nobody. These people frighten the hell out of me. I'm gonna turn it on. And you know, you can only go by what we see and what they show us. And right now they're just obstructing everything, and when they pass things, it's things like the Inflation Reduction Act, which was really a Green New Deal, which increased inflation by a lot. Inflation was coming up on 11% with Biden. It was at 9 point something, headed to 11. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. That's what they passed. These Democrats just care about pleasing their donors and enriching themselves. And they turn around and say it's the Republicans that do that. Insider trading, investing in windmills, solar panels, chips, then outsourcing all of this money to China to pay for it. What the hell is that crap? They had internet access for rural areas in there, which people still don't have the internet. Completely mismanaged. Democrats, they couldn't manage a fart in a jar. Seriously. So all I'm going to say is beware the Democrat trying to sound like a moderate. They're lying to you. There's no such thing as a moderate Democrat anymore. They're saying what they need to get elected. Give you an example. Joe Biden was nominated in the primary. Whether it was rigged or not, he was running as a moderate. Then when he got in office, everything he did was far left extremism. Transgender everything, forced vaccinations. Joe Biden was a complete joke. People need to remember that when they vote. That's why I'm bullish on midterms. I think we're going to get enough done. Enough people will see. Not everyone, but enough people. That's all we need, is enough people. And there are a lot of people unhappy with Democrats. We had that election here for District 94, state representative, heavily blue district, almost stolen by that Republican. She came so close. 69 votes, guys. 69 damn votes out of 2,000 votes. Almost flipped it. Then we saw that blue district in Virginia get flipped. But then we saw a red one in New Hampshire get flipped blue. So The major problem with Republicans right now is motivating the base to vote in off-year elections. If we can do that and stick to the message we've been promoting, theoretically we should win midterms. Trump does not want a repeat of his first term. He got shellacked at midterms. He lost 30 seats. 30. Insurmountable. Wasn't even enough people to put up a fight. Thankfully, we had the Senate, okay? We had the Senate. But the Democrats spent all their time impeaching Trump endlessly. But now, we don't have the Mueller stuff, we don't have the special counsels, we don't have all of that crap. The media is weaker, the weakest it's ever been. Washington Post lost $130 million. BuzzFeed, their stock just fell out. They've lost millions of dollars. So all of these leftist media outlets are going broke. The right-wing conservative independents are doing well. So the other thing I wanted to share with you, I talked about it yesterday a little, is Democrats have lost 6% of their voting base, people registering as Democrats. Republicans have gained 7%. So some people that are Democrat are changing their party affiliations, is the best I could surmise, to Republican. This is all good, because Maine right now is headed on a red trend, and we are a purple state. The media is starting to acknowledge it, and so we're off to the races, guys. I fully believe that a Republican candidate can win the governorship in Maine right now, because people are that unhappy with Democrats. But if that happens, they will make sure the legislature stays blue, because they don't want Republicans to go too crazy. They just want the Democrats policed. See how that works? Kind of like how we see the Republican governor. Unless that got changed in the last election, I haven't really followed it, but I know they had a Republican governor in Massachusetts. But the state is so crazy blue that these Republicans really are not Republicans. They're rhinos, Republicans in name only. And if we get a Republican governor in Maine, it'll probably be one of those. But it's better than nothing at this point. I hope we can have a good conservative governor. That's yet to be seen. I don't know who the candidates are yet. There's like 3 or 4 Republicans looking, and there's about 6 Democrats that want to run for governor. The good news is that Shannon Bellows wasn't doing very well. And neither was Shelley Pingree's daughter, another Pingree, you know, because nepotism. So she wasn't doing well either. And the common theme that these Democrats have been promoting is they're promoting transgender stuff and the woke stuff still. They think that is still a thing in Maine. And I'm happy to tell you it's not. It'll appeal to their core 25% Looney Tunes that they have to get to vote for them, but they'll vote for them anyway. So that stuff is not popular in Maine. Now, if you listen to the national news, oh, the Democrats did this. What's wrong with Maine? All this trans stuff. Well, it's the Democrats controlling the legislature. Maine voters don't want it. We don't. So that's why I say we got a good chance of putting a Republican in the governor's seat. Maybe even flipping the House, the lower chamber. That would be great. They lost seats in the last election. The Democrats did. The Senate would be a lot tougher. But the last election, the senator I have here ran unopposed. Nobody ran against her. This time, there's this woman that's an independent who's talking about common sense, being a moderate. I'll have to find out a lot more about her before I ever vote for her. So we got a lot of research to do, guys. It's important to do it too. So we'll get there, my friends. We'll get there. We'll get there. I can just imagine what's going on in the states you're from. You probably have a lot more common sense and sanity, but maybe you don't. Seems to be a problem. The other thing I saw is, you see these celebrities, they all have like these trans kids. Some of them will have 2 of their kids. And they're all the usual people. Robert De Niro's son is a ladyboy. All of these famous celebrities now have trans kids. And a lot of people are like, it's like a cult in Hollywood. And I'm like, no, it isn't. Use your heads, guys. Use your heads. These are all white liberal females and ultra white liberals transitioning their kids. The woman down the street from where I'm walking, who's transitioning her kids, no paparazzis are there to take pictures. So my point is, this is happening nationally in all communities. You only hear it magnified because it's a celebrity. You get what I'm saying? So this is that's the truth. The problem is the fad is wearing out now. So, you know, a lot of people that do this to their own kids, and they are doing this, okay, they're grooming their kids. They're like pets. Virtue signaling to other people. Look how good I am. My child is their true self. They're, you know, all this, you know, the propaganda. And to me, these are the same type of people. Now, I'm not comparing the two exactly, but it's the same type of mentality of those white liberal women. And it's always white liberal women. Well, not always. There's been some black people that do this, and Asians. It's like an empathy thing. They get their kids sick on purpose. They poison their kid on purpose to make them sick, so they can take them to the emergency room and get the sympathy. I don't know what psychotic syndrome that is, but that's a real thing. We've seen it. And unfortunately, sometimes it leads to the kid dying. And the mother gets charged with murder. But we've seen that happen. I think it's something psychologically closely related to that, so they can get that public adulation from coworkers, from other family members. Oh, you're such a good parent, allowing your kid to be their true self, and you're being virtuous. You know, it's like a euphoric dopamine hit, you know what I mean? And they feel like really good people, because they're probably not. and they need to hear that. So that's just my opinion on that. That's all it is. But I think I'm pretty close to the mark. I think I'm pretty close on that. What do you guys think? I call it, you know, the Munchausen syndrome. I call it Transhausen by proxy. It's a Transhausen syndrome. Whatever you want to call it, it really pisses me off. Seriously does. You know, they've been pushing that myth for a while now that puberty blocker effects can be reversed. No, they can't. The correct medical use of puberty blockers, which is a child's body developing faster than the glands, or vice versa, they can inhibit or promote hormones. So sometimes you can have a kid where they have a slow hormonal system, not developing fast enough to make sure the body's healthy. So they accelerate hormone production. And then if they have too hyper hormone production, they use puberty blockers temporarily and monitored by an endocrinologist to ensure that damage is not being done to bones, heart tissue, and all this other stuff. And it's temporary. And the reason why all the testing is when the kid starts developing physically for puberty, they stop the puberty blockers. So then they allow the child to experience puberty naturally, safely, normally. That is the correct use for puberty blockers. And in those instances, it is reversible, because all you did was you temporarily halted puberty until the body or the hormone production on its own could catch up. And it has to be closely monitored. And it's very rare that that happens. So that is the issue. It is not reversible. Once puberty has been halted, and then you stop the puberty blockers, they don't have puberty. It's forever altered. It doesn't change. So for the rest of their lives, they are sterilized, incapable of enjoying sex, and along with that goes a lot of social problems, mental issues they already had and were mistreated for, and you're creating all these people that are going to be miserable. Probably that's why you see such a high suicide rate. So, and again, if you ever have any suicidal thoughts, seek help immediately. You can call 911 or the suicide hotline, which I don't know what it is. I think it's 988 or something. You can look that up. Sorry, I don't know it. I don't have any issues like that. So, anyway, very important to get help. So now I'm going to finish up the last part of this walk, open to whatever pops in my head. Sure something will. Range day is going to be fun. Not this weekend, but next weekend. Probably be warmer as well, hopefully, with better weather. Not going to be very good this weekend. In fact, later tonight, dare I say, 3 to 5 inches of snow tonight. So we're going to get snow tonight. I'm not cleaning it. I don't even care if there's 6 inches. We got a couple days, 40s, 50s coming up. I'm done. I'm friggin' done with it, okay? So, just saying. The only reason why I have not put the snowblower away for the winter is we don't know if we're going to get a nor'easter, 18-inch snowstorm or something. So I will not be putting that away until at least the second week of April. So we will leave the snowblower out, but I'm not cleaning 5 inches of snow. Not gonna happen. We do all this work to melt all this snow, which a lot of it melted. It's almost all gone, almost. It's gonna be interesting to see how the city plows for that. I'm wondering if they're just going to leave it. 5 inches would be too much though. They'd have to plow it at first. But it is going to melt within a couple days. So, yeah, you know, we'll see what happens. But we're in crazy times, man. Absolutely crazy times. So I'm going to turn the camera around. The last part of this, and I will turn it around later on our last stretch to say goodbye. So when I get back, I'm going to have some rice and some corn, and I am going to have some eggs, because I can have that during the season of Lent. And I know in medieval times it was much more stricter than that, but I'm a Catholic and the Catholic Church says that's fine. And if I invent a time machine and go back to medieval times, I'll remember that, but at this point in time, that's not what I'm going to be doing. It was also supposed to warm up a little bit on this walk, which it has. I started this walk at 35 degrees, and with the wind it felt like it was 26, 28. So I wasn't kidding, guys. It was cold enough for my face to be cold. But right now I am pretty warm, feeling flushed. I'm sweating, And I know the temperature before the sun went down today was predicted to be 39. It's supposed to warm up as the day went on. So that means we're going to get wet, heavy snow, which is another reason why to just leave it. Plus the ground is thawed out. It has. It's mud season now. So whatever snow falls is going to melt very quickly like it does down south. As soon as the sun comes out, it'll be gone. So we don't have a permafrost anymore. In the wintertime, the permafrost is so thick, it goes down about 4 feet or so, that they don't dig graves in the wintertime. They put bodies in storage until spring. They probably started having funerals now for people that died over the winter. So if you ever wonder that, now they'll have memorial services after the person dies, but they'll have the body there, but they don't get buried till later. In case you didn't know that. Now we have seen them trying to dig to fix something for the city, and they had to use jackhammers on dirt to break through the permafrost. And they don't have a handheld one with some guy on it. It's actually one of those big jackhammers that attach to a backhoe. You can see there's still some snow in the woods here and there. This is that water that I would see those ducks on. They got a whole network that goes through the woods, and they just go through here and eat. As soon as the mud dries up some and the ground gets a little more firm, we'll go for a woods walk through there, where you're looking now. It's my trail right there, actually, that I go in on. So we'll be going on those soon. But the worst part of winter's over. That damn Arctic cold is gone. I mean, today was chilly, but this would have been a warm day compared to what we had this winter. That was awful this year. Terrible. So we'll head back to the ranch, take a shower, make something to eat, and tonight at midnight I'm gonna have some chicken. Lent will be over. Well, not the entire season, but this Friday. This Friday will be in the books. I'll have some chickens tonight after midnight. After midnight. Song by Eric Clapton. I believe that was on the Slow Hand album. cut across here. Oh, look at this. Look what I found. Top Job bleach. You know what this is? This is a pew pew jug. Shoot cycling. Pew 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 pew. We're gonna shoot this jug. We're gonna recycle it. We're gonna shoot cycle it. Ooh, my mouth is dry. I need some liquid. Sometimes I lay off liquids before a walk. There's nothing worse than when you're walking and you have to go to use the men's room real bad. Oh, excuse me, the public restroom. It's neutral. It's a neutral toilet. It's for men and women and for people who claim to be something else. All right, cut through the grass up here. Now, that's interesting. Very interesting. A Mercedes here. Pretty nice one. A Merc. Well, we're coming up on the end of this walk. Thankfully, I'm about spent today. I'm about spent today. All right. All right, guys. I want to thank you very much for watching with me today. Click like and subscribe. Share the content. Stay out of trouble. Be kind to one another. Say a prayer for Trump and the country, the people of Iran, people of Venezuela, people of Cuba, and wherever else that this awesome president is influencing for real change and good things. God bless all of you, and we will see you on the next MAHA walk. Make America healthy again. And if anything, you get to pick up some pew-pew jugs to do some shoot cycling. See you guys later. God bless you all. See you on the next walk. See ya!